Hi, rockers. Hello, hello. Well, here we have kind of analysis of chapters 1 and 2 so that you can follow, yes, with the reading. Yes, remember to join our book club. Yes, we are dealing with it. Remember the author of Wuthering Heights, it's Emily Brontë. Here we have a new image. Okay, the plays. Think about the times in which it was written, the setting in time, the setting in place. Those aspects are very important in our speaking, in our analyzing the story, an epic story, of course. Here we have images that we shared the previous times. Okay, chapter 1, yes, chapter 2. There were different situations happening. Okay, so what do we have? As regards the plot summary, Mr. Logwood, the new tenant of Thrushcross Grange, visits his landlord Heathcliff at Wuthering Heights. He finds Heathcliff reserved, inhospitable, and surrounded by hostile servants and dogs. The house itself is described as bleak, windswept, and isolated. Lockwood is attacked by dogs, rescued by the housekeeper, and lives intrigued by Heathcliff's mysterious character. Chum, chum, chum. Then Lockwood remember that he returns a pesar de, despite Heathcliff's lack of enthusiasm. He meets Hareton Earnshaw and the young widow Catherine, Mrs. Heathcliff. Misunderstandings arise. Lockwood mistakes relationships, thinking Catherine, this young woman, is Heathcliff's wife, and then Hareton's. Yes, the household is cold, hostile, and unwelcoming. Totally agreed. Lockwood is attacked again by dogs forced to stay overnight and experiences the oppressive atmosphere of Wuthering Heights. Dun, 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 dun. Right, we've got character traits and the arc development. Okay, regarding Mr. Lockwood, naive, socially awkward, self important, curious, oblivious to hostility. His arc. He begins now as a string and by Heathcliff, but quickly becomes overwhelmed by the hostility of Wuthering Heights. Regarding Heathcliff, his traits are dark, proud, brooding, inhospitable, gentlemanly manners, but harsh temperament. He's introduced as mysterious and unfriendly, and hints of grief because of his dead wife and bitterness. Yes, bitterness. He's bitter. Joseph, old, sour, religious matterings, hostile to strangers. Mr. Lockwood. He represents the harsh and welcoming atmosphere of the Heights. Now, Catherine, Mrs. Heathcliff, widow of Heathcliff's son. Young, beautiful, cold, resentful, trapped. Then you learn why. He's introduced as isolated and embittered, resisting Lockwood's attempts at friendliness. Hareton Earnshaw, rough, uncultured, aggressive, resentful. He's introduced as degraded despite noble lineage, hostile to Lockwood. Yes, Scylla, the housekeeper, practical, humane, rescues Lockwood from dogs. Minor, the arc, yes, but shows rare kindness in the Heights. Now, remember that the house is a character. That's the title, right? Well, it's not just setting, it behaves like a living entity. Click. Hostile and violent, dogs attack Lockwood, the house resists strangers. Haunted and memory laden, names carved into walls. Catherine's diary, ghostly peasants. Keep off secrets. Heathcliff forbids anyone to sleep in Catherine's room, showing the house as guardian of memory. Atmospheric personality. Storms batter it. Winds bend its trees. The house embodies chaos and grief. It contrasts with Thrushcross Grange, where the Grange symbolizes stability and order, and the height symbolizes raw passion and decay. Interesting. There is a progression, okay? In chapter one, the house is alive and hostile, with hostility. Snarling dogs, unfriendly faces, storm battered walls. In chapter two, the house is alive with ghosts, gathering spirit carved names, forbidden room. Together, the height evolves from the fortress of hostility to a haunted tomb of memory. Now, chapter 1 and 2 together show Wuthering Heights evolving from hostile to haunted. Okay, as we mentioned, the house is a physical threat, snarling rocks, we said that, and then it becomes a spiritual threat. So, first a physical threat, then a spiritual threat, because it's haunted by Catherine's ghost filled with grief and memory, as we mentioned before. Is the progression, and this is important, establishes the Gothic atmosphere. Yes, the height is not just a setting, but a living character, hostile to outsiders and haunted by its own past. Interesting thoughts. We have themes emerging, as you see: isolation and hostility, class and decay, miscommunication and misunderstanding, nature and setting as character, violence and brutality, death and ghosts. Let me show you some of the themes, yes. Supernatural and haunting, obsession and eternal love, isolation and entrapment, religions versus rebellion, memory and legacy, madness and passion. You can count a lot of themes, okay? Again, here are the first mentioned, okay? And then we have these. With obviously we got some examples, for example, as regarding other supernatural and haunting, Catherine's ghost blurs dream and reality, establishing Gothic terror. That's a very good one. Okay, remember to include this in your retellings. Okay, then we've got foreshadowing. Foreshadowing, yes, the future. And Heathcliff mentions of his wife ghost anticipates supernatural elements. Anticipation. Catherine's ghost sets the stage for the continued presence of Heathcliff's life. Now, symbolism: Wuthering Heights, chaos, hostility, raw nature. Thrushcross Grange, civilization, refinement. This is a contrast. Irony, for example, Logwood's belief that Heathcliff is like him, reserved, solitary. This is misguided. Lockwood dismisses the goat as punishment for witness, while Heathcliff sees it as beloved Catherine. All right? So we've got a lot of literary devices. Okay. Here we've got symbolism, names on the wall, the Bible diary, rebellion against religious authority, personal voice breaking sacred text. Remember that Catherine has used to write messages there, like her diary, keeping a diary. Okay. Now, we've got some debatable questions. Again, these are some of them. I wrote 10, I guess. Is Lockwood a reliable narrator? No, his misinterpretation shows bias and naivety. Does Heathcliff's inhospitable nature stem from grief? Possibly. Is Lockwood's curiosity admirable or foolish? Foolish. He ignores clear signs of hostility. Do the dogs symbolize Wuthering Heights itself? Is Heathcliff more gentleman or savage? Does Joseph represent religion or hypocrisy? Is Catherine, Mrs. Heathcliff's, a victim or complicit? Does Hareton's degradation reflect class decline? Is Lockwood's misreading of relationships comic or tragic? Poor guy. Comic at first, but tragic in revealing dysfunction. Does Heathcliff laugh at local suffering out of cruelty or indifference? Cruelty for sure. He enjoys others' discomforts. Okay, so this was just an analysis, a brief analysis of what we talk in class. Okay, then keep on reading. You have the rest of the chapters. This is a simplified version of it. Okay, but it can help you understand the story if you anytime have happen to read the whole book. Okay, look at the new pictures we've got here. Well, any questions? Remember to write them down. Okay, we can analyze them. Any ideas you've got about the story? Okay, here we are fond of Gothic style. This is very interesting. I so hope you like it. Okay. And I've been reading the movie. We are in January 2026. And there will be a new version, yes, of Wuthering Heights that will be released in February 2026. And I have already heard a lot of comments, negative ones, towards it. But remember that it's another version. It's a new like reading of the story, okay? So, as I remember, it happened to Romeo and Juliet. There was a movie that I could never watch until I had to analyze all the movies, and that one was Romeo plus Juliet. I could not. The pictures were. I mean, what they were showing. The setting was LA. A lot of um, religious symbolism and a lot of aggressiveness, and they were using guns, and I could not accept it until I had to analyze from a different perspective. I had to watch all the versions of Romeo and Juliet, and I ended up liking it, okay, because I accepted it in a different way, understanding that it's a different text, okay. So this will happen, and sooner or later with Wuthering Heights. We will read the reviews and with different ideas, obviously. Well, let's continue with chapter 3 then, okay? Bye bye. See you later, rockers.